Residents at a Madison County apartment complex raising new concerns just weeks after a prolonged power outage forced some to vacate their homes. Now, one tenant says she's dealing with mice inside her unit and getting few answers from management. This comes after a weeks-long power outage at Aurora Luxury Apartments that led to condemned units and forced relocations. Now, new complaints are surfacing. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala spoke with the current tenant and a lawyer about what options residents have.
As those power issues get addressed, residents tell me new issues are surfacing, now involving mice inside of their apartments.
I saw something moving from the corner of my eyes. Well, all of a sudden a mouse popped up and almost ran across my foot.
She says as a current resident at Aurora Apartments, she immediately reported it to management. After days without a clear response, pest control arrived, but the issue was not identified.
I found droppings under my sink. So what I did is I bleached my whole apartment.
Just days later, she says the mice had chewed through her couch. She believes the issue may stem from when residents were forced out during the power outages, leaving food behind.
You weren't allowing people to come back into the apartment for obvious reasons, of course, but that means that they had food in their fridge that was going bad, probably in the pantry.
In a statement, property management says once notified, they coordinated service with a licensed pest control provider. After inspection, they reported no evidence of mice, but added preventative measures, including traps, were put in place. The tenant says she now wants to break her lease, which runs through July. Legal expert Christopher Weston, managing partner at Johnston Moore & Weston, says whether that's possible depends on the situation.
Under the Uniform Landlord-Tenant Code, what you end up having is both the tenant and the landlord are responsible for maintaining health and safety on the premises.
Weston says tenants should provide a written notice, giving landlords time to fix the issue or show they are actively working to resolve it.
If you are the cause of it or you did not fulfill your obligations, they can sue you for it, of course. But likewise, you can sue them if the health, safety, or basically the habitability of the premises becomes, affected materially by these issues.
Weston adds if conditions become dangerous or unlivable, tenants may have grounds to move out, but must follow proper legal steps in writing. In Huntsville, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
Property management also says a follow-up visit has been scheduled to continue monitoring the situation. They remain committed to providing a clean, safe, and well-managed environment for residents.
More explosions in southern Lebanon as Israeli forces target the Iranian proxy group Hezbollah. Iran says this directly violates the ceasefire and could make the upcoming peace talks meaningless.
If Iran wants to let this negotiation fall apart in a conflict where they were getting hammered over Lebanon, which has nothing to do with them and which the United States never once said was part of the ceasefire, that's ultimately their choice. We think that would be dumb.
Vice President J.D. Vance will lead the negotiations for the U.S. and says Israel has agreed to limit these attacks.
They want to make sure that our negotiation is successful.
But making a deal will still be a tall task. Iranian leaders are still publicly saying they have a right to enrich uranium, even though the White House says they're wavering behind the scenes.
That is a red line that the president is not going to back away from, and he's committed to ensuring that takes place. We hope it will be through diplomacy.
Have they given any indication that they would turn it over?
They have.
They have?
Yes.
The Strait of Hormuz and all the oil that flows through it is also a major issue. It was supposed to reopen as part of the ceasefire, but only 5 ships made it through Wednesday.
This war is a colossal failure. Iran has now demonstrated to the whole world that it can use the Strait of Hormuz as leverage against the international community.
For now, the Pentagon is not withdrawing any troops from the Middle East. 50,000 service members and hundreds of warships and planes remain on standby. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
While airlines deal with higher fuel prices, Delta and Southwest joined the list of major carriers passing costs onto their customers in the form of bag fees.
I think it's crazy. Yeah, and that's why I always travel light like this.
Not my favorite thing.
Delta and Southwest are the 3rd and 4th on the list, following United and JetBlue, hiking baggage fees up by $10 on new bookings. Zach Griff, a travel expert, called it a backdoor approach to recoup costs.
Bag fees are not the thing that you and I are necessarily comparing when we are, making our reservation.
The first checked bag will now cost $45, the second $55, and the third bag jumping to $200.
It's upsetting because these airlines make a lot of money and they've been increasing their prices. And obviously now we have the impasse that's happening in the Middle East.
The price hike comes as airlines struggle with surging jet fuel costs driven by tensions in the Middle East that passenger just mentioned. Delta CEO shares it's unclear how long the extra fees will last.
We anticipate it's going to stay higher for longer over these next number of months.
Since travelers tend to buy airline tickets months in advance, bag fees are one of few ways airlines can recoup their losses. So if you don't travel light, it's going to come at an extra cost. So what can customers do to cut some of those costs? We have a travel expert taking that question.
Carrying an old airline co-branded credit card, usually it just takes the entry-level one with, a modest $100, $150 annual fee. And, it really only takes checking a bag twice or three times to recoup that annual fee because now, given how much they cost.
In the meantime, keeping a light load is just the cheapest way to fly.
For everybody in general, I'd like to see the fees as low as possible.
Kendall Green, Fox 5 News.
A two-week ceasefire agreement made on the condition that Iran agreed to reopen the critical Strait of Hormuz was enough to push oil prices lower Wednesday.
What has been agreed to, what's been stated, is the strait is open. Our military is watching. I'm sure their military is watching, but commerce will flow.
But analysts say the fragile agreement doesn't guarantee oil tankers will be on the move quickly. In fact, Iran halted oil traffic in the Strait Wednesday after Israel attacked Hezbollah sites in Lebanon.
Market is still waiting to see how the vessels start to flow.
The effective closure of the crucial Strait of Hormuz rocked global oil supply, and analysts anticipate it could take months to fully restore the flow and production of oil derailed by the war.
It's going to be weeks and months to get the production back online. And given that about 3 million barrels a day of refining capacity has been damaged, that can take months to years to be repaired.
Lingering uncertainty pushed the average price of a gallon of regular gas to $4.16 Wednesday, according to AAA. And while retail gas prices are expected to start falling in the coming days if all holds, price tracker Gas Buddy estimates it'll still take 1 to 2 weeks for the average to get back below $4, leaving the squeeze on drivers, but also businesses who have started to pass those higher costs along to already weary consumers with new fees for things like shipping and logistics. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
This clip shows Irvin touching the student and making the comment during last week's meeting.
God, you're hot. You know that? Dang. Where do you go to school at?
I go Crockett.
All right.
At Wednesday afternoon's emergency meeting called by the chair of the board, parents and community members demanded accountability, asking Irvin to resign.
And the best thing that you can do as a human being, a father, and somebody that says that you care about this community is go ahead and step on down.
Following a heated public comment, the board was given the opportunity to speak. Irvin read a statement saying the clip was taken out of context.
When I mentioned she was hot, I meant she was on a roll. It was nothing to do with her appearance.
Some board members also said he should step down.
It's hurtful to the school system, and I think the right thing for you to do is resign.
While some defended him.
Keith has already been found guilty in social media court, but I choose grace.
In the end, it was a unanimous vote to censure Irvin. A censure is a statement from the board saying they disapprove of what a member has said or done. It's the only disciplinary action available, as a board member cannot be terminated unless they do something illegal.
Thank you, too, for being men and doing the right thing. Yeah.
According to records obtained by News 5, Irvin has been censured before in 2009 for making a lewd sexual gesture in a classroom at David Crockett High School. The documents show Irvin said he was trying to be 18 again, and he wanted kids to be able to talk to him. Irvin is up for re-election in August.
We have seen just some extraordinary things that I thought we might see. They looked similar to what I thought they might look like, and other things that I just had never even imagined. And those were different perspectives that we saw these things from. Our purpose on the planet as humans is to find joy, to find the joy in lifting each other up by creating solutions together instead of destroying. And when you see it from out here, it doesn't change it. It just absolutely reaffirms that. It's almost like seeing living proof of it.
The thing that we saw that really surprised me the most is we trained to view the eclipse from the far side of the moon, or after going beyond the far side of the moon. We saw great simulations made by our lunar science team, but when that actually happened, it just blew us all away. I mean, you heard the reaction real time.
When we watched that Earth eclipse behind the moon, wow, I'm actually getting chills right now just thinking about. My palms are sweating, but it is amazing to watch your home planet disappear behind the moon. You could see the atmosphere. You could actually see the terrain in the moon projected across the Earth as the Earth was eclipsing behind the moon. It was just an unbelievable sight. We had a little bit of a light work day yesterday, and we were starting to journal and reflect a little bit. And there's a lot that our brains have to process. Human minds should not go through what these just went through. And it is a true gift. And we have a lot that we just need to think about and journal and write, and then we'll get the full feeling of what we just went through.
$1,218.67. Yeah, for one building.
The rising cost of utilities definitely does have some effect on the reason we're going to just under one roof.
After we went through our first year, we looked at the electric bill, we looked at the rent, we realized we were not going to make enough money. So we had to raise the rent, and that was what started a lot of the rift with the West Virginians, that we were going to have to raise the rent when they had had camping the same way for so many years.
You're getting $1,300 to $1,500 bills for electric. And West Virginia has decided that they're going to run on coal for at least 2040. You don't have a choice when it comes to electric and water. And so, you can't decide to just not have electric for that month. We're seeing businesses lock up, businesses are closing.
I try to stay so positive and look towards the future, and bigger plans, but sometimes it's just so sad, walking down there seeing it.
From here down was counters. I had an ice cream freezer, and then I had my bakery case.
I was getting ready. Like, I had a bunch of stuff made up and everything, and was getting ready for Valentine's Day, because holidays were $700 to $1,000 days. So I would have had the money if I could have just got 2 days, just 2 days. We closed down on the 12th. The electric being so high made me struggle on pretty much everything else. Once I got behind, it was like I could not dig out of that hole. And every time I would pay a big lump sum, then the next bill would come in and it would be even higher. We're in the Antique Mall, Ravenswood Antique Mall. And we are coming back to my booth where I'm gonna have some of my baked goods. At one point I had 5 employees. 3 lost their jobs the day that I closed, because I was down to 3 for the winter because I knew. And we lost our only source of income at that time.
14 months ago, we opened up this small gallery here, which is only 1,900 square feet. We just love it here. But the problem is we're getting really beat up with the high energy costs. This small gallery, I keep the temperature down kind of low, and I'm still paying $700, $800 a month. The power company, I've called several times, and I told them, look, I'm a senior citizen, I'm 71, I'm an artist, and I have a gallery, and I'm trying to help the community. Is there any program that can help us to help our community? She says, I'm sorry, we really don't have that.
And your rent for the commercial space here is how much?
It's only $600. It's $150 to $200 less than my power bill.
The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
I find it fascinating that, they go and they give him a trophy saying he's the friend of a coal miner. Our coal miners are dying of black lung. They don't have clean water. They can't feed their children. Their schools are closing. Their electric bills are through the roof, and they can't afford groceries. Where's the trophy for us?
We are energy rich. I mean, they come through, tore up our land. We kept hearing, we're going to do the coal mines, the coal mines, the coal mines. I love the current administration, but what about the coal mines? If they're digging, baby, digging, I don't see it here. I've had to close down 2 stores because I can't afford rent. You have a gas bill, you have an electricity bill, you have water bill, you have sewer bill, okay? I can't afford all that plus pay $2,000 a month rent. Your utility bills are more than your rent is. And we are a red state. I don't want us to be the left behind state anymore, I guess I should say.
Everybody says we need them. We need little bakeries. We need all these little small businesses, but then they're the ones that get hit the hardest.
The clock is ticking to file your 2025 taxes. You have until April 15th at midnight in your time zone, but tax experts recommend filing as soon as possible.
The longer you wait, the more bad things that can happen.
Mark Stieber with Jackson Hewitt Tax Services says it can take you several hours to fill everything out. And if you're filing without professional help, it can take even longer. The good news is there's still time, and you're not alone waiting until the last minute. The IRS says roughly 20 to 25% of Americans wait until the last 2 weeks before the deadline to prepare their returns. So what if you make a mistake and it's caught after the deadline?
If it's a big error, they may charge you some interest or penalties because you didn't pay. If you leave something off that costs you money, you really need to go get that fixed.
If you need more time, you can file for a 6-month extension, but you must submit the request before April 15th. And any money you owe the IRS must be paid by April 15th.
Don't misunderstand extension. It's just an extension to send in paperwork federally and your state.
If you don't pay the IRS on time, you'll face a late penalty of 7% interest on the money owed. Stieber says it's not too late to ask a tax professional for help.
2025 was one of the largest tax law changes in my 40-year history, and there's a lot of new stuff in there that's never been tried or tested, and it can be confusing.
And if you need help, most big tax services have extra staff through the 15th to help you file on time. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
A new study has found that sugar-sweetened drinks have caused type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease to skyrocket in recent years. That's why dozens of health advocates took to the Capitol today, urging lawmakers to pass a new bill aimed at improving transparency around sugary drinks.
Senate Bill 869 would require large chain restaurants to label beverages that contain more than 50% of the recommended daily reference value for sugar on their menu by 2028.
The recommended for sugar per day is 50 grams. Some of these drinks much supersede those. Sugary drinks are the #1 source of added sugar in the United States diets. Consuming too many of these drinks can actually lead to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and obesity.
Democratic State Senator Dr. Akilah Weber Pearson of San Diego introduced the bill.
Sugary drinks are one of the largest sources of added sugar in the American diet, and many people just simply don't know how much sugar is in what they're drinking.
The American Diabetes Association co-sponsoring this legislation.
We've built an environment where sugary drinks are everywhere. Labels can be confusing. marketing can be misleading, and the real health impact is often buried beneath it all.
The law would ensure these restaurants comply.
Just like you have your local inspectors that go into current restaurants and they look at the menus and they ensure that what is on the menu should be on the menu. This is just another thing that would be on their checklist to ensure.
A high school senior says having this information readily available would help many make better decisions.
I had no idea that I was starting my day with almost all the sugar I should be having for an entire day.
So this medium 22-ounce pink lemonade from a fast food restaurant has 66 grams of sugar in it, already surpassing your daily recommended amount of sugar, which doesn't even include the sugar from the food that you've ordered. We'll be sure to keep you updated on the progress of this nutrition bill. And that is the very latest. For now, reporting at the Capitol, covering local news that matters. Juliette Smith, Fox 40 News.
A potentially life-threatening tick-borne parasitic disease called babesiosis infects red blood cells, and experts say it's on the rise in the U.S.
Patients can be hospitalized, and they can develop multi-organ failure and even death.
Dr. David Leaf with Mass General Brigham Department of Medicine says for most patients with babesiosis, antibiotics will treat the illness, but for those who are most vulnerable to severe disease like older patients, those who are immunocompromised, or patients receiving chemotherapy, Leaf says antibiotics may not be enough.
When those patients get very sick, they sometimes receive a therapy called red blood cell exchange transfusion.
Leaf says it's a way of exchanging the patient's infected red blood cells for healthy ones. In this study, he and a team of researchers analyzed data on more than 3,000 patients with severe babesiosis over a 15-year period. They found the more invasive transfusion was much more effective at treating severe babesiosis when compared to the standard treatment.
They were more likely to survive the hospitalization, and they were also less likely to be readmitted after they were discharged.
Leaf says reported cases of babesiosis have increased over the past several decades in the U.S., and this research has the potential to save the lives of those with severe disease.
For the first time, we now have evidence that this therapy actually works.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The latest clip from Michael recreates the King of Pop's legendary Motown 25 performance, including Jackson's first ever moonwalk. Michael opens in theaters April 24th.
Mom's gonna be our new troop leader.
Who are you? Phyllis Neffler, Troop Beverly Hills.
Wilderness Girls Roll Call. Deadline reports the 1989 comedy Troop Beverly Hills is finally getting a sequel, with Cameron Diaz set to fill Shelley Long's fashionable shoes. The film is in development at Sony's TriStar Pictures.
From Ground Zero from East Timor. This we deplane in Haiti from Georgia's death row prison.
Steal This Story, Please looks at legendary investigative journalist Amy Goodman, the longtime host of the independent radio show Democracy Now! The documentary's title comes from Goodman's hope that other media outlets steal her work on underreported stories. The film opens in New York Friday and expands in the weeks ahead. Locations and showtimes at stealthisstory.org. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Yeah, I look different. But hey, everything about me is different. I have a girlfriend. And the best thing in the whole world, my daughter Leah.
Dad, quit it.
My life is fantastic now. All I have to do is stay completely away from my family.
Nearly 20 years after the original series finale, Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair continues the story.
It's so rare to get to go back to a part of your life that meant so much, right? 7 years I spent with the cast and crew, playing this character, making this show. 20 years later, I have such a greater appreciation of what we made.
This family's non-stop antisocial behavior and mindless, myopic priorities are toxic to me!
Can I at least give you a hug?
Not physically.
For 7 years, we had this loving television family with these little boys, and now they're all grown men with children of their own, And I just thought this would be a story worth telling.
I think we feel, I do, like an elder statesman of sorts. I mean, what we got out of this show, working with each other and with these writers, and directors, was just a gift.
You have to make peace with your family.
I hope people watch the old 7 seasons and are super excited and ready for the new 4 episodes. Hopefully this gives them some relief from the constant kind of craziness that is our lives these days, and they can just enjoy the 2 hours of Malcolm in the Middle like they used to.
You can't spend the rest of your life denying your family even exists.
Worked perfectly until they showed up.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
What started out as your everyday field trip for some Chandler, Arizona second graders,
they were really excited to see the farm and tractors and things like that,
ended with a daring rescue and a life lesson when bus drivers Michael Randall and Doug Rogers saw someone in need of help.
My first thought, it looked like a coyote. Then I heard the kids say, "It's a dog, it's a dog, it's a dog."
With encouragement from the students, Randall and parent chaperone Julia Valenti sprang into action, working together to rescue the frightened pup trapped in the canal, demonstrating what a little teamwork and humanity can do.
There's still good in the world, that people still want to do the right thing.
From 4 paws in trouble to 4 hooves in danger, Troy the horse is back home safe and sound after being swept away by raging floodwaters last weekend in Marengo, Illinois.
How are we going to get there?
A team of nearly 4 dozen people worked non-stop to rescue Troy from the icy cold creek.
He fought for his life and he's doing amazing.
Giving this exquisite equine a new lease on life.
Look how cool I am. I'm the celebrity of the town.
But not all animals in need of rescue are as charming as Troy.
It's huge.
Good God. What Tampa police first thought was a human intruder turned out to be a 9'6" alligator, who was not too pleased to have their 3 a.m. swim interrupted.
So he'll just frolic around and then wear himself out?
Yeah. Let him burn some of that.
Officers assisted the trapper in capturing the pool partying pest, but with gator mating season underway, this reptilian Romeo's courtship efforts may have been cut short by the long arm of the law. For Take a Look at This, I'm Amanda Sansoni.
It is the average alley that is in everyone's town, really. It just took looking at it in a different way to envision what it could be.
Y'all see this?
We wanted people to discover something for themselves. We wanted them to be able to find it themselves, to really literally get on their hands and knees, almost for everyone, adults and children, a childlike joy of discovering something new and finding something, and finding a little person in a nook or a cranny is so much fun.
You're just walking, but there's all these different things that catch your eye, from little people to big murals, and it's just so much to look at and explore.
Coming into the Pocket Museum is like a breath of fresh air. It's an instant boost of just excitement. Everything is just beautiful. I mean, you may come feeling down, but you're gonna leave excited.
Any city can take an alley and transform it in their own way. And it doesn't have to be Pocket Museum way, but transform it to where people say, I've never seen that before, and I love it, and I'll come back to it every year.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush. Fast-paced news updates featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film Die Hard fan. Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True Crime Warrior Style, Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app. Available on Android and iOS devices. Streaming 24/7.
There's more to Fox 54 Plus with the Locked On Podcast Network. From the Tide to the Tigers, from college teams to pro, the Locked On Podcast Network gives you insights and analysis you just can't find anywhere else.
These kids, they want to play.
And I don't think so. I think it was Chad Baker-Mazzara.
Locked On Sports, streaming every day of the week and right here on Fox 54 Plus.
County 911, what's the address of your emergency room? Okay, your wife is in a bar, you said she's unresponsive?
This is what he's going to tell you.
How to get out of that situation.
And I grabbed the gun.
Trying to find the first place to put a body. No, sir. The only thing they could do was kill him.
Do you want to say anything?
We, the jury, find the defendant